It is 2:00, ladies and gentlemen. And I welcome you all to the Cabinet meeting today. Item number 1 is apologies for absence. At the moment, I've got apologies for Nigel and Lee who were at a previous meeting. They hope to get back as soon as they can, and I will defer from the chair as and when in the agenda if they return. Item 2, declaration of interest. Members are requested to declare the existence and nature of any disposable peculiar interest and or other interest not already on their register of interest in any item on the agenda, draw from the meeting at the appropriate time. Have we any declarations of interest?
Chair, I do. Items 4 and 10. My interest is that I'm a member of the McNeil board, and I think for item 4 that will become a prejudicial interest, which means I have to leave the meeting for that item.
Anybody else?
Steve?
No, I haven't touched it.
I said you did.
Item 3, minutes of the meeting, of the last meeting. Will somebody approve as a correct record, and I will sign the attached minutes in the meeting Cabinet held on the 12th of June 2025.
Move it, Chair.
Seconded, Chair.
Are there any matters arising?
I've got any.
No. Item 5 then, complaints, performance and service improvement report for housing. I think that's you, Jane, isn't it?
And with that, I'll just wait outside.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'll take this in the leader's absence. So this is the annual report that we provide to Cabinet to demonstrate compliance with the Regulator of Social Housing's code for statutory requirements in publishing an annual complaints, performance and service improvement. We do a self-assessment and we also produce a response to the governing body. So the report's contained within. I think the highlights for this is to note that we have undertaken quite a lot of work with regards to complaints since we had the inspection last year. One of the observations by the inspector was that they felt that our numbers were slightly low. It's always quite difficult to categorise between service requests and complaints, but we've done lots of advertising of our policy and our numbers have gone up, which feels counterintuitive. You would think more complaints is a problem, but for purposes of the regulator, that's not necessarily the case. They want to know that our tenants have got a voice and that they feel that they understand and can work through our processes. So there's quite a detailed report attached to this, which lists all of the complaints and all of the key learnings. I didn't propose to go through it in any detail, Chair. If anybody's got any questions, I'll be more than happy to take them. Once this is should this be approved by Cabinet, we will then notify the regulator and let them have a copy.
Thank you, Jane. Anybody got any questions?
Just a quickie, Jane. What happens when the complaints were upheld? It's one that jumped out to me. Repairs to soffits in 2021. Was noted this 3 years ago. What would normally happen?
Yeah, so if when we do a complaint and it's upheld, then we would liaise with the complainant. We would advise them of that case. Normally, it's a case of rectification work. So if we've not done something right, we will go and put it right.
Okay. Thank you.
With the normal process.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Anybody else got any questions? Can I move the recommendation then 1, 2 and 3 that the Cabinet to note and agree the publication of the annual complaints, performance and service improvement report for housing. 2, to provide a government body response to the report to be published on the website. And 3, Cabinet note and agree that the publication of the self-assessment against the code. All those in favour? Any against? That's carried.
Good Chair.
Somebody was listening at the door because I completely forgotten to invite it back in. Item number 5 then is the medium-term financial plan. Financial outturn 24-25. Try and be brief with these. Today, I am presenting the outturn report for the 24-25 financial year. We published this year's accounts on the 20th of June, ahead of the statutory deadline. Our external auditors are now auditing the accounts and are scheduled to present an opinion to the audit committee by the 30th of November. The general fund shows an underspend of 1.209 million against budget. The main variance related to 2 areas. First, the staffing costs, which is largely savings around vacancies and reduce agent spend. We have identified a lot of the root causes and a full review is being undertaken to inform the revised budget in future years. Second is interest. The amounts charged to the HRA as part of the statutory requirements under legislation have been reviewed during 24-25. This has required an adjustment to the HRA, resulting in a reduced charge to the general fund. The position is overall cost neutral to the council. There are also some smaller variances driven by lower utility and fuel costs, reduced bad debt provision, less investment in ICT than forecast this year, and higher income levels from leisure services and burial fees. Reserves are detailed in tables 2 and 3 of the report. The main point to note is that the budget transfer to the general fund is no longer required, and the underspent position means that a contribution of £1 million can be made to the resilience reserve. This brings the balance to 3.597 million. This will be needed to provide financial resilience to the general fund in future years as required by the medium-term financial plan. The housing revenue account shows a small underspend of 105,000 against budget. The main variances are rental income exceeded budget by £167,000 due to right to buy sales and the positive impact of more homes purchased through the acquisition policy, and a slight overspend on council tax charges for voids. The HRA balance has been maintained at 3 million to support the long-term sustainability of the housing stock. Transfers from reserves in the HRA account contribute to the debt repayment reserves to reduce the self-financing debt levels. This is to ensure debt servicing costs remain at an affordable level for the HRA. The total capital expenditure 24-25 was 53 million against a budget of 69 million. The HRA was underspent by 2.8 million. This is the result of slight delays on site at North Wingfield. The scheme is nearly complete and there is just a slight slippage into the next financial year. The acquisition scheme spend was also below budget due to the delays in completing of committed sales on which the council is wholly reliant on the developers. The funds are all committed and will be utilised during 25-26. The general fund was underspent by 13 million. This was largely the result of delays against forecasts for the Claycross regeneration scheme. The programme runs until 2026 and the underspend will be utilised over the remainder of the programme as the delivery of this project continues. As in previous years, approval is sought to roll these capital budgets over. Are there any questions before I move the recommendations?
Okay.
Can I move the recommendations then? One, that the Cabinet note the outturn position in respect of the 24-25 financial year. And two, the Cabinet approves the proposal to carry forward of capital budgets detailed in Appendix 4, totalling £16.462 million. All those in favour? That was carried. Item 5. The medium-term financial plan. I've done that, sorry. Item 6, Treasury Management financial outturn. How to report this?
Got lots.
As the Cabinet will be aware, SIPFA revised Treasury Management Code made quarterly reporting of indicators mandatory from April 2023. This report presents Treasury Management outturn for 24-25. Appendix 1 and 2 provides a report on the Treasury Management activity and prudential indicators of the Council for 24-25. The key notes are summarised at 2.3 in the report. You will note that there are no compliance matters or risks to raise this year. I'm happy to take any questions. Very complicated one. It's interest, where we leave the money, what interest we get, and all the indicators that we're, and the report really shows that we're in parameters, acceptable parameters on all counts.
Correct.
So there are no things to report. Can we move the recommendations then that the Cabinet note the outturn position in respect of 23-24 financial year? Those in favour? Thank you. If we get the right number this time. Item 7, Budget Monitoring Report, April to July 25, Quarter 1. Today I am presenting the financial position of the Council at Quarter 1. Appendices 1 and 2 summarise the general position. The general fund is forecast to be 394,000 underspent at Quarter 1. This includes a planned contribution of £294 from the Resilience Fund, which now is no longer required due to the underspend. Instead, a contribution of 219,000 is forecast to be added back to the reserves, improving our financial resilience. The main variances in each of the directorate are detailed in the reports at paragraph 2.5 to 2.7. The key points include Organisation and Place Directorate, 279,000 underspend, mainly due to salary savings, 105,000, reduced fuel and recycling costs, and increased income from grounds maintenance and planning fees. The Finance and Resources Directorate is 167,000 underspent, driven by salary savings and additional income from external audit and revenues and benefits. Savings and additional income for external audit, revenues and benefits. Growth and Assets Directorate, 51,000 overspent, with salary and utility savings offset by reduced leisure income, particularly at Claycross Active, and increased asset valuation costs. Appendix 3 and paragraph 2.14 provide the Q1 position for the housing revenue account. The HRA shows a positive variance of 225,000, with income boosted by the additional rent week and expenditure slightly above budget due to subscription costs. Appendix 4 details capital expenditure on the schemes by scheme basis. The capital programme is currently 2.434 million below forecast. The HRI capital programme is 1.788 million under, largely due to the timing of the Stone Broom regeneration project, while the general fund capital programme is 664,000 under, spread across several smaller variances. These are expected to realign by the year end. I'm happy again to take any questions on those.
It's not a question, Chair, it's just a comment really. This is the third financial report on the paper today, and all of them on the right side of the line, which I think is a credit to the officers who have helped manage this authority, because it's still incredibly challenging times for local authorities. And for us to keep coming on the right side is a good thing, and it means that we're able to deliver services in a planned way rather than in a crisis way. And again, I think that's a good sign for us to be in. Today's report, this particular report, well, it's still the first quarter, and therefore lots can change in time. It's still on the right side, and it means that we can continue to deliver services that full council agreed only a few months ago. So I think that I'm more than happy to second this one, propose this one rather, and also thank the officers for the work they've done in delivering these three reports.
Thank you, Councillor Gillett. In fact, can I just come back on that?
Yes.
Okay, Chair. Thank you. And it's somewhat frustrating for us to be over budget at this point, under budget at this point in the year, because we spend a lot of time getting the forecast right, and the pay one is something that we're particularly interested in trying to get a little bit closer, because that 349,000 that we're underspending is predominantly pay again. So that's something that me and my team are working on. I think just to mention leisure, the report is a snapshot in time. So at Q1, leisure income was down. That was predominant because Claycross Active wasn't open. And we're already seeing that that's going to swing. So by the time we get to Q2, we'll be showing more positive results. Thank you.
I think my only comment is that the vacancies, we do realise we have put money aside for vacancies. And in the climate of change as at the moment, I don't think the vacancies are likely to fall significantly. So I think we can move some of that into the other direction. And I think it gives us chance sometime during the year to perhaps look at slight improvements on the priorities that we have and have already put down. So the recommendation is that the service is that the recommendation? The Service Scrutiny Committee look at this.
No, so Service Scrutiny Committee have already looked at it. They looked at it on Tuesday.
Oh, sorry.
The recommendation is for Cabinet to note.
Yes, we'll just note it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Can I
All those in favour?
just pick one small
Sorry.
thing up, please?
Yes.
There's a spelling mistake.
Oh,
Just on
There was-
page 117, it says clapped instead of clay.
thank you. Thank you. We'll pick that one up. No doubt. It'll happen again. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
And the other, I'm in the process of having my eyes done I can't read with my glasses and I can't quite read with, so there was a little repeat on one sentence.
Sorry.
But apart from that, we've just about gone through.
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank
All those in favour? That's agreed. Item 8, urgent items to consider any other matter which the leader is of the opinion should be considered as a matter of urgency in accordance with the provision of statutory instrument 2012 number 2089 regulation 11. He didn't tell me he had any, so we'll assume there are not. Can I move to item 9 then? Exclusion of the public. That the public be excluded from the meeting during the discussion of the following items of business to avoid the disclosure to them of exempt information as defined in Part 1 of Schedule 12A to the Local Government Act 1972 as defined in Part 1 as amended by the Local Government Access to Information Variation Order. Is that agreed,